Hello guys and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you another competitive replay, and that's because I managed to get my hands on the final of the 7th BTR Flash tournament. The final was a best of 3. So today we're going to be watching Disco Commandos, who thankfully got me the replay, so thanks to them. And they're going to be taking on RKKA. Now RKKA are on the blue side, and we have Disco Commandos on the red side, and today we're seeing Red 4 versus Red 4. So I think that Disco Commandos are going to be going with their Russian and Red Dragon decks again. And then on the blue side, I'm not entirely sure what we're going to see, but it looks like a lot of different types of units from different nations. We've got some KPZ T72s there, East German. So we've probably got an all nations Red 4 deck, especially if, let's just have a look at the composition that Amber T has. Now Amber T and Iceman I both covered in the 1v1 tournament. They're both extremely good players. So it'll be interesting to see how they complement each other in a team. I believe they have obviously played before together, and they do know each other very well. But maybe Amber T is making use of an Eastern Bloc deck, because we see the Pragas, we see the SPW50 PKs. Interesting. And the Furong's UAZ is as well. And then it looks like we've got a all-Russian deck coming from Iceman. That'll be cool to watch how it works out for them. So it looks like both teams are focusing heavily on the plateau at the start. We've got the red team once again focusing all their efforts on this side. We've got the 4 MI25s that we saw in the last game, going to be making for a hard push at the start with the help of this KA52. We've also got the same 4 T72Bs going to be used by Feld. On the blue side, we've just got this large mix of like 2 T72s, BTR ATAs. We've got the Tunguska M, T80U, really heavy tank there, and we've got a OSA there as well, with a Ural with a recon squad. And they also bringing in their own MI25s, but these are the S24 variants, I believe the Czech variants with the 240mm rockets. Incredibly good at stunning units there. But the blue team has actually focused a little more on the right as well. There's 2 MI25 S24s on the right, with a KPZ T72. We've got an OT62B with a HGM squad, SPW50 PK with infantry, Praga, a couple of Pragas with the Furong's UAZ to capture November. J7 2M coming in here. Didn't find anything with its superior air detection, but probably spotted these MI25s coming up, and they're going to get taken out very quickly by this KA52 Akula and the 4 MI25s. So an early win there for the red team, shooting down those 2 pretty expensive helicopters. They cost 60 points each, so quite an expensive loss there for the enemy. But this MI24 is now harassing the supply of Iceman and is catching out this push. We do see an IL-102 coming in here, and that's an interesting plane to see. Has a lot of health, but we've also got a MiG-21 MF-75. That just dropped an infrared missile into a Mi-25. We've also got the IL-102 attacking the KA-52. And these Tanker Shashau also got taken out by the Mi-25s. Then we've got the MiG-21MF making the rounds again. Oh, the IL-2 did actually manage to shoot down the KA, and it's now being hit by 2 books, but did manage to survive 2 shots from the book. That just shows how powerful those things are. But now we've got, with the help of this MiG-21MF and the Tunguska, they've shot down all of the Mi-25s, but Su-25K coming up, going to make a bombing run. Oh, that's going to be right underneath the Mi-25 S-24s. And they're both dead as well. Both teams making big blows to the enemy at the start of this game. That's incredible. We've got this tank here. It looks like a T-80s have been blown up. Actually, no, they're the KPZ T-72s, sorry. It looks like they were taken out by these T-72Bs already. So a large engagement there won by the red team. So it looks from the offset that the red team have gained quite an advantage on this plateau. We've got these Hyundaes making their way into this town. That's going to cause some issues. Then we've got a couple more reinforcements coming up here from these BTR ATAs. It's Mostrauki 90. The T-72Bs are still going to work on these Moskaya Pehota. There's Mostrauki moving into this compound to make that annoying as well. So much going on at the moment. And we've still got the air support coming in. We've got a Fabio now coming in with the anti-radar missiles, hoping to get a snipe onto this Tunguska. But it looks like the Tunguska M's radar has already been turned off by the blue team. And now they'll likely turn it back on again, or just use the infrared missiles to attack their aircraft. Wow, that is an incredible snipe there from the Tunguska M. Both shots hit, and that's going to cost the red team a lot of points. MiG-27 was also forced to rout after it got a kill onto a T-80U. So the blue team's actually lost the majority of their AA. The only thing they have left is this 2K22 Tunguska, which just paid dividends then by shooting down that Fabio. Now these two PTR Conkers M's are going to prevent the push from these APCs. It forced Paddy to drop out the Mutschützen early to prevent them from being killed by the explosions. But the Conkers M's now wasting their HGems on these SPW-50Ks, and the Mutschützen are going to wipe out the Bachongzu that we're defending there. Now we see another J72M and an Su-27S coming in for air cover for the red team. But they've already invested a lot into their air, and they've already had their Vapor shot down, which I think is like 180 points worth of airplane. Over on this left side, you can see these BTR 60Ps being used as recon to check out what's going on in hotels. So a bit of a skirmish going on over here. These BTR 60Ps probably going to be taking out these APCs fine. That's just a check from the red team to find out if they are, if the blue teams are moving anything over to hotel, but it doesn't look like they are, so they're fine there. This J72M being engaged by this KA-52 Akula. We've got a constant skirmish going on. This BTR ATA is going to be able to take out this Moskaya Pehota squad. We've got the Hyundaes trying to defend against the Mutschützen that are attacking into this town. Unfortunately, the Hyundaes, although they're 30-point squads, they are easily overwhelmed by sort of shock infantry, which is what these Mutschützen are really good for. So that's why those Hyundaes didn't last very long, especially with the fire support of the APCs and the T-72s. We've got a MiG-23 MLD coming in there. That was trying to shoot down this Mi-28. Looks like the Su-27S finished that one off. So Mi-28 lost there for the blue team. That's a Havoc. A nice amount of points lost for the blue team. But what's interesting to see is that the red team doesn't have anywhere near as much recon as they had in the last game. And you can see that's already taking effect with these T-72s from Amber 2 managing to push straight up the middle of the map here, all the way up to Delta, and there's nothing defending it. The red team's trying to call in reinforcements, as you can see, to defend that, but the KPZ T-72s are already far enough up to stand their ground at Delta, which is going to cause some big problems for the red team if they're not careful. These T-72Bs still going to work. All four of them are still alive, and they're going to just absolutely destroy anything that comes into their range. Unfortunately, these T-72s won't be that effective though, because they don't have the infantry to reveal the infantry in this town. And, well, they've got to be careful of this KA-52 Akula as well. Oh man, that is an awesome snipe there. KA-52 managed to take out that book, but the Shilka getting payback there, actually, and managing to kill that. Okay, so we already see the KPZ T-72 being rushed across the bridge with a couple of BTR ATAs and another KPZ T-72 following up. And it looks like they're going to be heading straight into Charlie, possibly taking out that BRDM if the red team aren't quick enough to react. But they're still focused very heavily on this side. The Mutschützen, just so much value for money. pushing into this town, destroying the Wargames, and now that the red team doesn't have any infantry, they're not going to be able to spot out the enemy infantry in order to take them out. A nice bombing strike there from the Su-25K, which is going to kill a couple of squads and severely damage another two. But even though they have all these tanks, that's just not going to be enough if they want to get any sort of presence in Bravo in India. Now the ZTQ can be used to sort of spot enemy units, but unfortunately when units are hidden in towns, they're pretty much impossible to spot with recon. So now we see the MD500D spotting this push, but the BTR ATAs have found the BRDM and are firing at that with their HGEMs, and well, that wasn't going to last very long. And already the blue team is at a +2 advantage. So the red team did get a BRDM into Bravo, which made it +2. It was +4 once the Charlie got knocked out. Oh wow, one of the Su-27Ss there got shot down by a MiG. That is impressive by that MiG. But unfortunately the red team obviously lost their aircraft as well. But the thing is, the Su-27S worth a lot more than a MiG, so they got a bit more value for money there out of their aircraft. But still, they've lost this Charlie command sector now, and it's putting them behind very early in the game. They're already behind 294 points to 0. The red team hasn't been ahead once in this game yet, and that is seriously starting to hurt them. You can already see that with the blue team capturing these 5 sectors, they have a better reinforcement point income than the red team. And they're reinforcing with all of these SPW-50Ks. They all have moat shoots in them, I would presume. And again, cost-effective infantry, incredibly good. This TATU going head-on with a T-72B. Not necessarily the best sort of engagement for a TATU. Yeah, the TATU has better front armor, but at that close range, the kinetic rounds can pierce that very well from the T-72B. And the T-72Bs cost a lot less and share the same AP power. So the T-72Bs are incredibly good value for money because of that, but the TATU, it's generally better. It's just because of that range, it's not really a good idea to go head to head. But now this T-72B is distracted by this Mochutsen. Iceman's making a run for it with this TATU to see if he can get him close enough to one-shot this T-72B through the front armor. We'll see if that pays off. Oh, there's 1 health left on this T-72B, and the T-72B is firing at the Morskaya Pehota. Oh dear. This Su-25K did come in. Didn't get shot down by the Su-27S, but this MiG-23 MLD did shoot down the Su-27S. Oh, another impressive kill there. This 90-point aircraft shooting down a 160-point aircraft. It's just beautiful to see. We've also got these 2 HQ-7s there. They probably helped out with their Krotal missile system. These 2 Wargames, BTR ATAs, did absolutely annihilate one of those Mochutsen squads, but they do not see what's coming behind. There is so many more Mochutsen squads coming, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Wargames actually get destroyed very quickly. And we've got these Mochutsen on the flank as well, destroying another squad. And these BTR ATAs just can't get close enough without running into missile range to be effective against these infantry in these buildings. You can see this BTR ATA is probably like got an attack move going, and he's gonna end up getting like so close that it just can't do anything. Like the range of these autocannon is 1,750 meters, but they're just, you know, useless in that kind of scenario because they need to get really close. It's MiG-21 MF coming in. Not sure quite what that's going for. Maybe a snipe onto this MD500D, but nope, looks like that was a mistake by the blue team and did get it shot down by this Su-27S of Felds. Now you can see finally the BTR ATA has spotted the Mochutsen in this compound and will fire upon them, but as you can see they don't see them for long because of the poor recon, and then they're going to drive straight into range of the heat rockets and boom. That's the problem I was talking about. And the Yakyondes have done a lot better than I had suspected here. The BTR ATA still alive with these two squads, and one by one they're killing these squads quite effectively actually. I guess when you're not looking at infantry and compounds, elite infantry is a lot better than shock infantry. So, the red team doing their best to try and keep their conquest points even, or the conquest points income at least. But that's a very risky BRDM there, especially with these infantry still in this town. They might not know that they are there. But with this Su-27M coming in with its TV guidance missiles, well, that's not going to last very long, and it puts the blue team back at a +4 advantage. We see the advancement of Mochstrelki. These MT LBVs dropping those off to fight against these Mochutsen, using the T-80UM as fire support. They're waiting to get an opportunity to put this BRDM up into Bravo, but the blue team has just smothered this plateau with units, and with this flank down the middle, it has really hurt the red team's capacity to deal with all of these units. It's just like so much everywhere. They've just been spread out too thin, especially considering they invested a lot of points into expensive units at the start of the game, including the T-72Bs. Those tanks, although they sort of paid off themselves, it kind of meant that they didn't have enough elsewhere on the map to spot what was coming. And I complimented their use of recon in the last game, and this time they just didn't see anything coming. A large amount of aircraft coming in, these Su-27M sniping that T-72B. We've got this helicopter being shot down, and this MiG-23 MLD also going to be taken out by this MiG-29. This Il-102 making a bombing run onto this BTR 60PB. Bit of a faked CV there. That was pretty funny. But these two HQ-7s coming in, maybe they can kill that Il-102, but nope, it's going to get away. And so did the rest of the aircraft. So a lovely amount of air support coming in there from the blue team and doing work over the enemy, especially considering they knew that they pretty much had no AA left. So just an engagement now from these Yakyondes against this Mochutsen. These two squads finally got taken out with the BTR ATA. Looks like these MT LBVs have found a Conquer's M squad. That's going to be a nice little kill there for those MT LBVs if they actually stop and kill them. But it's unfortunately looks like it might be over. We've got an Su-22 M4 Sierra 30 with its two TV guidance missiles attacking this T-80UM. If both of those had hit, that T-80UM would have been dead, but fortunately it managed to get away with that. This Ka-52 recon helicopter only has anti-radar missiles, unfortunately, so it can't attack this T-80UM if you're wondering why. BTR ATA making an advance over the left bridge from Delta, and that's probably just going to bump into the Mochutsen, but either way, that's the end of the game because the conquest points hit 500. And Iceman and Amber T take the first game in the 3-game series. So, pretty interesting game there. I'm not entirely sure what went wrong for the red team. I think it was just their lack of recon and lack of cheap infantry. They invested a lot of points into Yakyondes, which I thought was really strange. They had Tankashasha as well, but they got destroyed at the start by an airstrike, I believe, or the helicopters. And that meant that their fire support was only half as effective as the blue team's was. So the blue team was using a lot of Mochutsen, which managed to push back the enemy because they enabled the fire support to do the damage that they needed to do. Whereas on the red side, they were being pushed back but didn't have enough infantry forward of their fire support in order to make their fire support effective, or, in general, recon. There wasn't enough recon this game for the red team in order to really succeed, and that's why they let themselves get flanked and lost the conquest point at the back. and that ultimately led to them losing a huge lead to the enemy, and it wasn't really something they could bring back from that point because they were investing in more CVs than they needed to, more air support than they needed to. I think the amount of air support the red team paid for at the start was a bit strange, especially it was a bit unlucky as well, especially losing that Fabio to the Tunguska M. But you know, a few mistakes here and there that really cost them the game. But either way, well played from both, I would say. Those T-72Bs showing how strong they are, and some really nice bombing strikes from the Su-25Ks. Just nice job overall from both teams, showing how the MiG-29 MLDs can shoot down Su-27Ss. That was pretty impressive. Some really nice gameplay going on. It was all very chaotic, but it was like coordinated, but incredibly messy at the same time. Very fun to watch. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.